We will work on stimulating the pituitary gland. This is the gland that governs and masters our hormone regulation throughout our bodies. It's located in the center of the brow, also known as our third eye point, or the anchor chakra, which is linked to our capacity for intuition and creativity. So you may want to connect to some of the thoughts around that while you do the practice, or you may want to just be in whatever it is for you today. So preparing to begin the practice, closing your eyes, allowing your breath to regulate itself in and out through the nose, as it will throughout the practice, unless instructed otherwise. And taking a moment here as you arrive to allow the breath to deepen and to set an intention, if you wish to, for this practice. Breathing in to any intention you may want to set. A word, an image, a sound, a feeling, the sense of just being here or seeing what happens. If nothing comes, then breathing into that emptiness. Breathing in and holding the breath for a moment with a focus on whatever today's intention is for you. And breathing out, letting the exhale carry your intention out across the world to be free to form itself in whatever way it will come. Bring the palms of your hands together and bring them into the center of our chest, thumbs pressing into the sternum, eyes closed but focused on the point between the two brows. Opening the practice with the mantra Om Namo Gurudev Namo to connect to ourselves and our divine teachers within, followed by the Mangala Charan mantra Adgare Namo, calling on our surroundings for protection. Inhaling, exhaling, and inhaling to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Angrename, Jungangrename, Zangrename, Zingrename, Angrename, Jungangrename, Zangrename, Zingrename, Angrename, Jungangrename, Zangrename, Zingrename. Inhaling deeply, exhaling completely, allowing the breath to flow as you arrive in this tuned in state, at one with your capacity to learn and receive from everything within you and around you. And gently opening your eyes to come into the practice. We'll be doing a Kundalini meditation to start us off, followed by a series of postures that are inspired to flow through, stimulating the pituitary gland, and then ending with a Kundalini breath meditation. We will be taking our time to do what is quite a gentle practice in itself, but what may have a cumulative effect to feel quite energizing for you. So for the first meditation, we're doing the meditation for healing addictions. And through this, we're thinking about addiction in its broadest sense. This may be about breaking patterns, breaking routines within ourselves, rather than full-on drug or alcohol addictions. But breaking those patterns or those rhythms that we might want to be breaking or healing or finding our new ways with. So to stimulate this, what we're going to do is bring the hands into fists, thumbs flexed up, and we're pressing those thumb tips onto our temple. Now you can experiment with the location of the thumbs. You might have them in different points around the temples, and you can experiment with having the hands open, palms over your eyes, the thumbs resting onto the temples, or anywhere in between that. And you can experiment with different levels of pressure onto those temples. You can do this posture sat, seated, or if you want to, for today's practice, maybe lying onto your back, legs up the wall to ease us in. So finding our way into whatever version or posture you would like to be in today, maybe since we're just starting out, maybe having your hips a bit further away from the wall, or having an extra cushion or blanket under your hips, and finding your way into however you would like to do this meditation today. Bringing your hands into that posture of the thumbs pressing onto the temples, closing your mouth, allowing your breath to find its own pattern through your nose. And what we're going to start doing is clenching the jaw together. So you're bringing the molars together, then you're releasing them. The mouth stays closed, the teeth stay together the whole time, but you clench the molars to create tension and then release. Noticing the massaging of your thumbs and your temples as you do that. And continuing that pattern, the hand posture, the jaw clenching. We'll count 4 counts of clenching the jaw and break. So you may want to inhale, clench the jaw 1, 2, 3, 4 times, then exhale. You may want to inhale and clench 4 times as you inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale, relaxing the jaw. Or you may want to inhale through that relaxed jaw. And as you exhale, try clenching 4 times. Just see what pattern works for you. Finding a cycle of breath that fits with a cycle of 4 clenches of the jaw. Finding a hand posture that works for you. Experimenting with different positions of your thumbs, resting into the temples. Your thumbs aren't moving, but you're massaging your temples through the tension and the movement that's happening with your jaw. Eyes are closed, but focused on the point between your 2 brows. Finding where your thumbs want to rest for the last cycles of the meditation. Finding what version of the breath you'd like to follow for the last cycles of the meditation. Finding what posture you'd like the hands to rest in. As we come into the final 2 cycles of this meditation, counting 4 pulses, the clenched jaw, and when you've finished that final cycle of the breath, of the jaw clenching, take a deep breath. As you inhale, raise the arms up above you. And as you exhale, shake those fingertips out, shaking all that magic fairy dust or whatever you want to shake all over yourself, glitter, light, white light, and relax. Inhale, extending those arms up, and exhaling ever so slowly, lowering your arms down, noticing what sensation there may be to notice in lightness, in weightlessness, in sensation of any description through those arms, and bringing the arms all the way down so you're resting with your legs up the wall as the first awareness comes to the posture and the physical practice we'll do today. You may like to have your hands resting together onto your belly, rising and falling with each breath. You may want to have the arms down by your sides, palms facing up. And as you've eased yourself into legs up the wall, if you have been there already, you may want to shuffle your buttocks in a bit further towards the wall to create a bit more extension through the backs of the legs. Or if you've been seated, you may want to come and move into legs up the wall now. You may want to experiment with flexing your feet or pointing your toes. And now we'll come into a twist version. So we'll bend the right leg, keep the left leg extended, sole of the feet onto the wall, or tilting the knee slightly outwards, sole of the feet resting onto the inside of the left leg, wherever it comes. And bringing a slight twist, you might want to nudge that left foot over towards the right hand side. It might be the slightest movement. It might be quite a full stretch. You may want to bring your left arm out to the left side and turn your head to look out towards that hand. You may have the legs straight and just the head turn, or just the arm, or just the leg, or none of them. Just seeing what version of this twist feels right for your body in this practice. And taking a final breath wherever you have decided to be, and using the power of the inhale, if you have been in a twist, to bring you back up straight, extending your legs out, bringing your arms into a neutral posture, and just noticing anything there is to notice, any difference between each side of the body as we work one side and not the other. And then preparing yourself to come and do the same in the other direction. So your right leg's extended, left leg's bent in, maybe bringing the sole of the foot to the inside of the right leg somewhere. Maybe bringing those arms out to your sides if you want to, and maybe nudging that foot, the right foot, a little bit towards the left side, maybe tilting the head to look out towards the right side. Maybe choosing to create a big stretch and opening through your hips, or maybe just choosing the slightest movement in that direction. You might just be finding you're wanting to, on some days, just turn the head with the arms, just have the arms extended, just move the legs, just move a few centimeters. Other days you may want to go into a full twist, or you may want some more dynamic movement there. Just finding where you want to be in this practice, knowing that where you want to be is the right place for today, and then bringing your legs back up, extending them both out, and noticing again anything there is to notice. Sensation in your body, and lowering the legs down, bending the knees into the chest, and rolling yourself onto one side, and rolling yourself over, coming onto your knees. We're going to come into a frog. So in the frog, what we're doing is we're on our knees and we're having our knees wide apart, wider than our hips, as wide as you want to come, because we're creating a stretch through the inner groin. And then we're coming down, so we're stretching through the hips and we're bringing ourselves onto our forearms. So we're creating a stretch in this series where we're working both our torsos, opening through the shoulders and stretching through the insides of the hips. Now you might want to have extra blankets under your knees here. You might want to be building up that floor in front of you with a cushion. You might want to be having the floor in front of you raised. You might just be coming up on your hands and knees. You might want to experiment with how far forward or far back your buttocks are over your hips. You might want to experiment with the position of your feet, bringing the toes together or extending the legs out. And just finding whatever version of this posture you want to rest in, to stretch into today. And taking a few final breaths there. And when you're ready to come out of the posture, bringing your hands either side of your head, you might have been making contact between your forehead and the ground or the cushion, stimulating the pituitary gland. Using an inhale to push yourself up, and exhale to push yourself back. And you might find you just want to release the legs a moment before the next posture. So we're massaging the knees, maybe rotating the ankles a bit, checking we've got enough cushioning under our knees before we come into the next version. And for the next version, we are doing melting heart. So this is similar but slightly different. So we've got the knees a bit closer together, about hip distance apart, so fitting two fists nicely between the knees. And we've got the feet in a nice, neat, direct parallel line out from the hips. And we're trying to keep the torso directly, the hips directly above the knees. So that this posture, we're bending down, nice right angle between the thighs and the calves. Hips staying the same, and then we're bending down from there. So we're dropping our heart centers towards the ground. You might find you want to build up a pile of cushions to rest your chest onto with your head hanging off the front. You may find that you want to raise the ground for your head at the front. You may want to have your head fully down, but your hands up off the ground. So we're creating quite a strong arc through about lower back here, stimulating that contact with the brow point in the ground, and stretching through the shoulder blades, the armpits, the upper body. Taking a few deep breaths here. And whatever version of the posture is right for you today. And when you're ready to close the posture, bringing those hands back to the side of your head, inhaling, pushing yourself up. Exhaling, sitting back onto your heels. Inhaling, bringing yourself up to sitting. And then releasing the legs again. Maybe giving them a little massage out before we come into one more another kneeling posture here. So this is the posture that I call a rock rising seed. So it's rock because that's our kneeling position. And the rock that we're going for here is having the knees quite wide apart. So you want to make sure that your heels are supported, so you might want to have some cushion underneath your feet. You might want to have something between your heels and your buttocks. You might want to have both, something underneath your ankles and between your heels and your buttocks. And you may find that you want to bring something in front of you to raise up the ground as well, because what we're going for here is a dynamic sort of movement where the full version would be that your head's on the ground or the cushion, your hands at either side of your head, your knees are spread wide, you're sitting back onto your heels, and as you inhale, you push your hips forward, extend your arms up to the sky, then tilt your head back, and as you exhale, you lower those arms back down, bringing the forehead down. The principles here are about opening through the front of the hips, opening through the chest, opening through the neck with the inhale, curving and closing with the exhale. You can do this in the low version where you're simply pushing up from the arms, tilting the head up forwards, and exhaling, bringing the forehead back down. You might find a seated version where your hands are resting on your thighs and you're moving in a flex through the body with an inhale, arcing the spine, opening the chest forward, exhale, drawing back from the navel point, curving the spine. You could be seated, inhaling, opening those arms out to the side or upwards. You could just be coming up and down without that forehead to the ground. Could be a good idea if you're feeling faint or dizzy at all. Just finding whatever version. Maybe imagining you're a little seedling emerging out from the cracks of a rock, reaching up to the sky with each inhale, a breath of light, freshness and growth. With each exhale, a sense of calm, grounding, and preparing to close this posture. So with whatever version you want to close with, inhaling deeply, extending, opening upwards and outwards, and exhaling, lowering yourself back down. And for our final physical practice, we're just going to rest ourselves a bit into baby pose, having been flexing through the lower back like that. So first, any easing out you need to do of your ankles before you move into a baby pose. And then what we're going to do is be kneeling into that baby pose, forehead to the ground. Again, you can support baby pose with any cushions or blankets under the ankles, between the heels and the buttocks, by bringing the ground up. Taking a few breaths, resting here with the arms out behind you, palms facing up. We're then going to interlace the fingers at the base of the spine. And you can use the inhale to extend through the arms, maybe extending them upwards out behind you, creating a stretch or releasing some tension from the shoulders. You might just be having the hands resting onto the lower back, or just resting onto the ground, either side, however feels right for you. And we're going to move into a relaxation now, so taking your time, you can stay relaxing in baby pose if that feels right for you today. You could come seated, you could come back to legs up the wall, or you could find yourself just lying into Shavasana on your back, Allowing your body temperature to potentially drop as you relax, so maybe putting a nice blanket over yourself. And in that space for that relaxation, making yourself warm, making yourself comfortable, allowing the breath to regulate itself, allowing your body and mind to integrate the effects of the practice so far, the physical, the psychological, the physiological. We'll deeply rest and relax here, and then we'll close with a final breath meditation. Noticing the contact of your body with the floor, and allowing each exhale to release the weight of your body a bit further into that floor. And preparing to come back out of the relaxation and start to integrate ourselves back into that external world. Maybe noticing the sounds or sensations within our body, maybe wiggling the toes and the fingers, feeling the changes in the contact between the body and the ground as you introduce some movement. Allowing those movements to become bigger through the wrists, through the ankles. And inhaling, creating a long stretch through the body. Exhaling, bringing the knees into the chest, hands around the knees, rocking gently from side to side. And rolling yourself gently over onto one side. And bringing yourself all the way up to sitting. Head coming up last. And finding whatever's a comfortable seated position for you to practice this breath in. You could even practice this breath meditation standing up. This is an alert and grounding, mindful breath meditation. We're breathing in powerfully through the mouth and breathing out gently through the nose. That inhale is audible, almost like a gasp of surprise. The exhale is gentle and silent. Your eyes remain wide open, choosing one spot straight in front of you to focus on. It could be the most mundane thing, the corner of the socket in the room, the door handle, a cobweb. Whatever it is, find something straight in front of you. Focus on all the detail of it, however mundane. Breathe in powerfully through the mouth and gently out through the nose. You may want to move your gaze a little upwards. What else can you find? A shadow, a fleck of paint, a speck of dirt. Taking it in all its detail as you inhale powerfully through the mouth And exhale gently through the nose. Maybe allowing the eyes to wander to one side. What else can you find? Cushion cover, a bit of wood. Focusing on it. Breathing powerfully in through the nose, gently out through the nose, in through the mouth, gently out through the nose. This is a practice grounding an absolute presence that you could draw on at any point, particularly if you might have felt that sense of panic or overwhelm coming when you're out and about. Taking those deep breaths in and controlled conversion of them into a gentle exhale, and moving your eyes potentially in the other direction, finding a final place for them to lock. Bit of a cardboard box, scrap of carpet, pattern in the curtain, whatever you're finding. Powerful inhale through the mouth, gentle exhale through the nose. Returning your gaze to the center. Maybe coming to that same spot you began with, or another one. Taking some final cycles of that breath. And relaxing the breath. Maybe allowing the eyes to close for a moment. The breath to just flow in and out through your nose. Yourself to feel what it's been to be practicing that breath in your body at this point in time. And to close the whole practice, we'll rub the palms of the hands together, bring them into the center of the chest, thumbs pressing firmly into the sternum. Eyes closed but focused on the point between the two brows. And closing the practice with 3 long satnams. Truth is my identity. Inhaling to repair. Exhaling completely. And inhaling to close. Nam. Light tool, truth tool, love tool, care and compassion tool. Bending yourself forward if you wish to close the practice. Maybe resting your forehead onto your thumb tips, the center point between your brows, being massaged as you move your head around onto those thumb tips. And when you're ready to close the practice, bringing yourself back up.